And now, back to the team you know and trust.
All this week here on News Channel 8, we're taking a look at Reno at the crossroads, examining how a number of decisions we make right now will point the direction Reno takes into the next century.
No story is more reflective of Reno's past or raises more questions about its future than the story of the Mapes Hotel. Tad Dunbar has been looking into that story for the past several weeks, and he joins us now from South Virginia Street near the Mapes. Tad?
Well, Ed, right now is a very good time to re-examine the Mapes story because things are finally beginning to happen in this part of town. And the decisions we make in the coming weeks are going to have a lot to say about whether this part of downtown Reno, which used to be the hub of the city, will be able to regain any of its former vitality. As she sits now on Virginia Street, she looks like what she is, a rather sad, slightly shabby relic from the city's past. But there is still a graceful elegance about her architecture, more than a hint of her glory days.
It was modeled from blueprints taken of a hotel that was a very famous hotel in New York that Mrs. Mapes used to visit. She was very impressed with the decor, the style of the hotel, and when they built the Mapes here, with just a little adjustment, they rebuilt that hotel in New York.
When she opened in 1947, she was the tallest building in the state of Nevada, and Reno had never seen anything like her. But for more than 13 years now, she has stood vacant, even her future existence in doubt. Eventually, the Mapes was purchased by Sundowner casino owner George Cardenas and a very silent partner, Zephyr Cove attorney Bob Maloff. Cardenas has no plans to develop the property, and for a while it seemed as though he had no interest in selling it either. For the past several years, all efforts to look inside the building to examine the property have been rebuffed by Cardenas. But last week, our request to tour the Mapes and photograph its interiors for the first time since its closure was granted. Our guide was Marty Cardenas, the son of the co-owner. The electricity is still on inside the Mapes, but the lighting is minimal. And where there are no windows, it's dark and a little creepy at first. One thing that strikes you immediately is that it's so much smaller than you remember. The main casino floor is tiny by modern Nevada standards, and all the fixtures have been removed. But then you begin to see it as it once was. The fancy coach room bar is still there, dusty but in good condition. In the dining room, the last luncheon special is still on the blackboard. Barbecue beef with fries, $2.50. Trout with fries, $2.95. Pretty good prices. Spaghetti and meat sauce, $2.95. Was good food in here, too. We aren't the only ones who've recently been admitted to the Mapes. The Reno Redevelopment Agency, who will have a lot to say about determining the future of the property, has been allowed inside. Now they're finally getting some answers.
We've got basic questions. You know, is the building sound? Is it structurally sound enough for us to come back in and rehabilitate the building?
They want to know about the air conditioning and heating systems. Do they work? Do the elevators work? Are rooms the right size for a modern property? They expect their experts to give them the answers by the end of next month. I'm no expert, of course, but some things are immediately apparent. The basement boiler room does not look like you could fire it up at a moment's notice. But while the basement area is dark and gloomy, neither here nor on the upper floors is there any sign that transients have routinely broken in and ravaged the place the way they reportedly have at the Riverside. As for the rooms, they are unbelievably small by today's standards. And the elevators, they don't work. And it's a long climb up the stairs to the 12th floor. Oh, man. The Sky Room. I spent some time up here. The biggest names in show business entertained in the Sky Room: Sammy Davis Jr., Liberace, Edgar Bergen, and Charlie McCarthy. You name the star of the 50s and 60s, and they probably graced the stage here. But perhaps the hotel's greatest brush with fame was when The Misfits was filmed in Reno, and the entire cast and crew headquartered at the Mapes, including stars Clark Gable, Marilyn Monroe, and Montgomery Clift. It was the last picture for all three. They died soon after. Harry Spencer remembers Marilyn Monroe.
She was surprisingly unattractive in person, but photographed like $1 million. She really didn't seem to be focused in. They would have to reshoot her scenes 15 or 20 times.
The Mapes closed its doors in 1982, ironically 35 years to the day after it opened. That day was December 17th. It was a sad Christmas for the hundreds of Mapes employees, and the dusty, sad Christmas trees are still here in the Sky Room. Look at this old aerial picture of downtown Reno. The FIB building is already there across First Street from the Mapes, but farther to the north, it's very much a small-town skyline. Look at the view from the Sky Room north today. It's crowded with hotel casinos that loom above the Mapes. Since then, the heart of downtown Reno has moved inexorably north. Now, the center of the action is blocks away from here. But if downtown Reno is to survive and be healthy, shouldn't this area be rejuvenated? Shouldn't we find a way to breathe new life into the Mapes, the Riverside, and other properties along the river? At 6:30, we're going to talk about some ways that might be done. With photographer Larry Mahowski in downtown Reno, I'm Tad Dunbar, News Channel 8.
Tad, a lot of history tied up in that building. When I was in there shortly after it closed some years back, there was still a lot of stuff in there, a lot of furnishings. Those seem to be gone now.
Essentially, all the furnishings are gone, Ed. All the furniture in the rooms, all the casino floor furniture. The bars are about the only thing that's left, and there's a big crap table up in the Sky Room because they couldn't figure out a way to get it down from up there.
A lot of memories nonetheless. Thanks, Tad. We'll see you at 6:30.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, those of us who've been here a while and remember when it was open, I mean, that was the center of Reno at one time.
Beautiful.
Well, the weather just keeps getting nicer and nicer.
Jeff Harden's up.